I want the BMW. I want the nice apartment. I want to be able to like treat the people around me, have good stability in my life. That's what appealed to wholesaling with me. Just the fact that one good deal is the difference between a regular life and a completely different life. And so when I called up Giancarlo and we had that conversation, I knew I could trust this guy. I've known this guy for like what 12 years now. I know this guy would never fuck me over. We have complete trust. It's like it was a perfect situation, really.
Nice. So you just trusted him 100%. You're like, John must have been one hell of a salesman, let me tell you that. I don't know what you told him that night, but it worked, and
Yeah.
now look what's going on. So,
Yeah. I mean, I can speak on that night a little bit. I don't remember everything word for word, but basically Nate told me he wanted to get into it and wanted to learn it. And I was like, well, I mean, I've already spent so much time learning it. I already have a great mentor. Like, why don't you just join me instead of you like spending an unnecessary amount of time when you have a resource like Rich and I, who have already been learning and been doing it for a while. So I wanted to bring Nate on board immediately so that way we could just get going right away.
nice. And one of the things that I'll say about knowing John for the past year is there were so many like downs. Like he was just trying to learn the business, right? And it's really hard when you get into this business because it'll chew you up and spit you out. Like you don't know where to start. You try to joint venture with people and then it doesn't work out. You try to get deals, people just shut you down. So one of the biggest like things that I admired about John was he just stuck with it no matter what. And then, he could have gave up a long time ago. Then he brings Nate in here, who's an assassin on the phones, just locked up
Yeah.
a couple deals, and now you guys are doing real estate at the age of 18. Your trajectory of making well over six figures this year while going to college, and it's all because you didn't give up and you trusted, your intuition. And that's to say a lot because even your parents were like, "Oh, we don't know about this wholesale real estate thing."
That's
So,
true.
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
let's talk a little about what is wholesale. Can you guys define wholesale real estate for like newbies out there or beginners or people that want to get into the business? Like, how do you guys conceptualize wholesale real estate? And I'll elaborate on it.
So I would say, well, first off, whenever I'm telling someone who's never heard about wholesale real estate, when I'm telling them about it, the way I start off with is wholesaling is not a business concept that's unique to real estate. I mean, that's basically what car dealerships are. They buy your car as cheap as they can get it. They mark up the price a bit and then try to sell it for a profit. So basically, what we're doing is we're trying to find houses at the lowest price, the biggest price cut possible. Usually, this is going to be in the form of fixer upper houses that are at a low price because they need work. We are going to negotiate for the lowest price possible within reason. And then we mark up that price a bit. We sell it to someone who's sometimes going to live in it, but usually they're just going to fix it up and go sell it for a profit. And we're keeping that difference of the two prices.
100%. Like that sums it up. But Nate, can you elaborate on anything there? Is it kind of how you see it?
Yeah, that's pretty much how I see it. I mean, when I explain wholesale to people, I basically tell them as this like, look, we find distressed properties, we negotiate a price with the owners, we get them to sign a contract. As low as we can get that price, we basically try to get it as low as we can, right? We make them sign. Then we can assign said contract to a cash buyer investor, a house flipper, for more than we signed them for. And as simple as that, we keep the difference in between. It's life hacking. It's crazy.
Right? So like you talk about let's make it I'll just make it a real simple analogy. Let's say you go on Facebook Marketplace and you're gonna look for a car on there. I used to flip cars for a living for a couple of years. I would look for four-door Honda Accords. I knew it was probably worth about $5,000 to $6,000. I would go look for sellers who needed the cash, and I'd offer them 2,500. A lot of times there was something wrong with the car, right? So my dad would fix it up, and then I just put it back on the market for 5,000 and make the difference. With this, it's no different. It's a marketing and sales business. So to the people out there who want to complicate real estate, it's simply just getting a product at a discounted price, maybe it's a distressed seller, distressed property, and then you're locking it up under contract and selling it to the end investor, which is a fix and flipper. So nothing crazy about what's going on. What kind of core skills? Dive into a little bit about what makes sense for like an acquisition agent. So let's get into this. Like, what techniques or what mindset do you guys have, like when you're doing your day-to-day calls or going to an event, or elaborate on what you do.
Honestly, my day to day as an acquisitions agent is I just follow the mindset is this. This is what we have to do as men in this economy. This is how we need to make a lot of money to provide for the people around us. I just keep that mindset all the time. I say, you know what? I'm going to buckle down. I'm going to make these cold calls every single day. I don't mind it at all because I know it's just what I have to do as a man. To be a good acquisitions agent, you just have to be a good people person. You got to be a good speaker. That's really about it for me. You just got to make it sound like you know what you're talking about, and that's all. Just be a good speaker.
So be confident when you speak. Another thing I can elaborate on, and what you guys are both good at, is building rapport. So finding commonalities with the seller, really uncover what the problem is, like with the property and with the homeowner, because what we're in the business for is helping people out. So a lot of times these people, they don't want to list it with the realtor because they need to sell it fast, or maybe it won't qualify for a home loan, so it doesn't really matter if it goes on MLS. They want cash, they need to sell it fast. Maybe it's a notice of default, like we just did. A guy's going through a bankruptcy, he needs the money, he needs to relocate quickly. So what we're doing is uncovering problems and helping these people out. John, let me ask you this. What would you say is the most important skill as an acquisition agent? What should they develop? What are the most important skills?
So there's three that comes to mind. First off, I would say confidence. Obviously, no one's going to want to work with you if you don't know what you're talking about. The second thing I would say is patience. So in terms of wholesaling as a business overall, we don't get paid anything per hour. It's all commissions business. So you just really got to be patient and keep fighting on, keep trying to find that deal. Every no that you get brings you closer to that yes. So sometimes it's hard, but you got to have patience. Because, like I said, one day, if you could call all day, not make a dime. Another day, you could call and get a deal, and then you'll make a lot of dimes. So
you're right. That'd be a lot of dimes.
Yeah. And then the third thing I would say is just like you already said, make sure to build good rapport, be a people person, just be personable with whoever the seller is. A lot of times by talking to them, you'll learn a lot more about the property than you may have ever found out by just walking it even. Like the seller will tell you what's wrong with it, and that may have been something you may not have found out if they hadn't told you. So that's why it's important to be a people person, be personable, and build a good relationship with the seller.
Got it. And would you say that, someone's going to start out there, they're new, would you say the first call you're going to get the deal, or how does it typically work if you're going to cold call someone?
Nothing is certain in this business. Obviously, you could get lucky and get it on your first call. I think we were talking about it the other day. It's something like maybe 1 in every 400 calls you're going to get a yes. There's no exact statistic, but that's just roughly what it's going to be. So most likely it's not going to be on the first one. Fortunately, Nate got a yes like really early on within us looking for deals. It was like one of the first ones we found on Marketplace. So Nate really hit a home run with that one, and that was just amazing. But the other thing I would add on is it's most likely not, like I said, not going to be your first one. It's definitely not a get rich quick scheme or anything like that.
Exactly.
It does take some time and patience.
It takes a lot of work, right? And what I like to tell people is there's a lot of ways you wanna integrate like a touch process. What I mean by that is you're gonna text them, you're gonna call them, you're gonna email them. Maybe you door knock them. But when I'm talking about with this is a lot of times you'll call someone on the first try, they're gonna tell you no, or not right now.
Mm-hmm.
And what you have to implement is not only the touch process but the follow-up process. You need to follow up with that lead, every week, every other week, really try to uncover what the problems are. Nate, I'm gonna go with you. I'm gonna go to you with this question. Tell me a little bit about um, so negotiations and handling rejection. You guys deal with rejection every single day. Dive into the negotiation process and how you handle tough conversations.
So, in terms of the negotiation process, obviously with wholesale real estate, you have an offer where you already know the seller's probably not going to like it too much, and you have to have a max offer. That range between your anchor and your max offer, you need to stay within in order to have a good deal, right? No matter what, during these negotiations, you always just have to make sure that you stay within that range, and you just have to make sure that the deal is in your favor, because a lot of the times the seller is going to be very connected to an emotional number, and the seller might not be a real estate professional. They may have just looked on Zillow, looked at the little Zestimate, got the number, right? That you just have to make sure that the deal works for us as wholesalers, and you can't be too emotionally invested in the deal to the point where you lock it up at too high of a price where you can't sell it. You always just have to make sure during your negotiations you just stay within that range.
Got it, right. And a lot of times they're going to say no to that offer right away, and then you set up it in a follow up campaign to where maybe down the line that price does work for them. Tell me a little bit about some of the problems or hurdles that you've had to go through starting as an acquisition agent, like some difficult times that you might have had already that you got through.
Yeah, I would be happy to. So I'm actually gonna go way back. So back when I was doing SMMA, I would be cold calling random businesses for hours every single day. To me, cold calling was pretty terrifying to start out with, but as soon as I got into wholesaling real estate, I realized how easy it could be. You just turn off your emotions, You're like, these are just regular people that you're calling. There's no need to be afraid of these people. That's kind of how I do it. Like, dealing with rejection every single day, I kind of just don't care anymore, because I know, like Giancarlo said, every single no brings you that much closer to that yes.
100%, right? So you get on the phone, and a lot of people out there that haven't started or already started, they procrastinate. They don't want. They're scared. They have the
Yeah.
fear of getting on the phone and being told to f off, don't call me, don't lose my number, this and that. Like you hear the worst of the worst. But let me tell you, when you finally hear that, well, what's your offer? Or yeah, I'm interested in selling. What does that feel like?
Feels fucking incredible, Rich.
Thank you for the language, Nate. No, you're right. It does feel incredibly amazing. And not only is it amazing to be in the negotiation process and to be able to help somebody out, but the payday's also amazing, right?
Yeah.
Um, okay, so John, tell me a little bit about your struggles early on. That whole year when you didn't get a deal. For the people that are watching, what did you go through and how'd you overcome it?
The biggest thing above all that I just want to start off with is wholesaling. Like, I mean, really any other kind of work is a game of consistency. If you're not consistent, you really have no one to blame but yourself. And that's kind of the situation I found myself in. Like, I have no big excuse or terrible story to tell other than I was just a busy high schooler who didn't totally have his priorities straight and wasn't always doing the most effective thing for my time. So, can you repeat the question though? I just want to make sure I kind of
For
cover
people
everything.
out there that are thinking about getting started or haven't started, discuss a little bit about what were some of the hurdles for you or difficult moments like when you were getting started. Like, what did you notice? Like, what were some really difficult things that you had to overcome? Like Nate we just talked about, he was scared. He had some fear of getting on the phones. He had to emotionally turn that off. What was it for you?
Yeah, I would also say at the beginning of cold calling, I did cold calling maybe for like a couple weeks, like 2 years ago. Like, it was a very, very short amount of cold calling. But during that time, I just remember like kind of hating it and just not really looking forward to it at all, just because of the way that I was afraid to be on the phone. But the other thing that people need to kind of understand when it comes to cold calling is these people, like, you're just talking to them on the phone. You're never going to have to talk to them ever again. So there's really no reason to be afraid of them on the phone. You're just looking to get a deal done, and that's really what it is. And also, you're looking to help them out by buying their house. So you just got to realize that you just need to keep pushing on with the deals and keep pushing forward with cold calling. Don't really worry about what people call you. I promise you, I've been called like every bad name imaginable, just told to like get lost in every way. So it is what it is.
Go
That's
play
just a
on the
part of cold
highway.
calling. Yeah. Yeah. It's people aren't always nice, but it is what it is. That's just a part of cold calling. Unfortunately, there's no way around it. So I would say that was the thing I was kind of afraid of at the start. Just I was a little bit afraid of being on the cold calls, but once I got around that, I was better. And once I started being more consistent, I was a lot better too.
So it sounds like with you, not only was it the fear, but then you lacked consistency and the ability to be able to hold yourself accountable and be truthful about the amount of effort and work that you're putting in is real. Like anyone out there can sugarcoat, oh, I tried to call for an hour today. Well, how many calls did you make? I made 10. Did you make any offers?
Yeah.
No. So, I mean, there's a lot of people out there that have unrealistic expectations. So, what does it really take to get a deal? Hundreds of calls. You need to make at least 20 offers a day. And you need to have those conversations with the seller multiple times with follow up. So, I tell people this all the time. It's not like a one hit wonder. You're not going to just call somebody and you're going to get a deal. There's a lot of work that goes into it. And you have to hold yourself accountable. You don't really have a boss, right? You wake up in your pajamas, you get on the phone, and you dial. And you have to get over the fear, and you have to do it consistently every day. Anyone could just get one deal. It's the person that continues to get deals, have those leads flow in, that separates themselves from the pack and is truly successful with wholesale real estate. Talking about success, we're going to talk about our deal that we just did. So let's do a breakdown of the deal we just did. Nate, we're going to you. How did you land a $35,000 assignment fee? Tell us a little bit about what happened and make it brief.
You talking about Lincoln or Fair Oaks, Rich?
Lincoln.
Lincoln. Okay, yeah. So it was honestly kind of a right place, right time kind of situation. John Carlo and I, back when we started this business, we didn't do cold calling. We actually just scrolled Facebook Marketplace for hours every single day, just looking for off-market properties around, the area. We come across a very lovely property out in Lincoln, very nice property, about 10 acres, had a barn, had all the cool stuff, but it was a fixer-upper, right? For whatever reason, this place was being listed by a realtor, but she didn't list it on the MLS for some reason. So what John Carlo and I did, we got on the phone with her. Hey, we're interested in buying this place. Can you tell us a little bit more about it, please? Like the general things you say with wholesaling. We got it down at a very, very decent discount. And that was that. We got that under contract pretty much. I think it was like the same night we made that call, John Carlo. We got that place under contract.
Yeah, basically we offered, got on a call with her, very quickly agreed to a price. Like there wasn't really any negotiation, just got straight to it.
Got it. So you guys were scrolling Facebook Marketplace, looking for a deal. You found someone who needed to sell, locked it up under contract. And I remember when John called me, I said, John, did you open escrow yet? He's like, what's that? And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. So then that's where it comes into play. These guys are new. Nate and John, our first deal, right? You guys locked up a property under contract, weren't scared at all. Just like, what is it? Ready, fire, aim kind of deal. Like, let me just try to get something under contract. Didn't really know what you're doing. You brought the deal to me. We open escrow. I find a buyer. We go through the whole escrow. There's ups and downs throughout that process. And at the end of it, you guys netted yourself a nice $35,000 fee, which we joint ventured. But at the end of the day, you guys like literally did it. Were you scared when you locked that? Talk about like how you felt when you locked it up under contract.
Dude, we were completely terrified. Like, okay, I don't know if I should say we, but I was completely terrified. I know that we really didn't know what we were doing completely. I was honestly just scared for what could possibly happen if this went wrong. Like, I swear, after we locked that property up under contract, I think I lost all hope for the deal like 3 or 4 times. That's how like afraid I was about that deal. So thank God we JV'd it with you.
And John, did you have any? What? How did you feel once you locked it up?
So I think above all, I was really excited that we found something super quick. I think the other thing was I started to get nervous towards the middle of the deal. Just the way that it's a Lincoln deal, it's really out kind of in a rural area, so there's not a ton of buyers out there. So just in the time that it was like we weren't getting much interest on it, I was starting to get worried. Like, man, is there a buyer for this one? But we eventually found a buyer, and it was all okay. And also, I was also a little nervous because I had obviously, like, with you, Rich, I've seen you do so many deals over the years, but this was like the first one that Nate and I like got under contract on our own. So there was a lot of things I was unsure about. The main thing being escrow. Obviously, I wasn't sure when to open escrow. But as soon as we brought you on, Rich, you helped us get the deal done, and it went perfectly. It was all good.
And how much money did you guys have in your personal checking accounts at that time, if you're comfortable with disclosing? Nate?
Wasn't it like just below 10 grand, Giancarlo?
No, how much did you have in your account? Like,
yeah, before you got the...
Okay, yeah. So when that wire hit, I had $200 to my name.
And what was the wire for?
Assignment fee.
No, but what? How much was it?
I think it was like just under 10 grand, right?
Right. And
Yeah.
have you
Yeah,
ever?
it was...
Right, John? What? Go
Yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say it was $8,750. I'll never forget that. And man, I don't really remember how much I had at the time, but needless to say, that assignment fee helped.
And you were getting a little backlash from your parents, right, John? Being 18, going to college, like, we don't know if we want you to continue with this wholesale thing. You hadn't done a deal yet. What was that like
Yeah.
to be able to prove to them that you finally did it?
Yeah, so I mean, that was really nice. Obviously, I can talk all the talk I want about, oh, I know what I'm doing. Oh, I learned this, I learned that in wholesaling, but it really means nothing until you finally get a deal done. So just to finally have that deal was, I felt like I was starting to prove myself a bit. So it was really good.
Awesome. And Nate, how did you feel after you saw that money hit your account? Like, what was going through your head?
Wow, I could finally afford some cool Christmas presents this year.
Nice. Okay, let's talk a little bit about Fair Oaks, your guys' second deal. 22. I think that deal was just under 25 grand. You guys did. Nate, walk us through that.
Yeah, simple as that. I cold called Alex, super nice guy on the phone. We established quite a bit of rapport. I kind of understood what his situation was. He was in a pretty bad spot. Like we've said before, he's in the middle of bankruptcy. So it was honestly kind of just right place, right time, which is honestly how wholesaling seems to go. Yeah, cold called him, and it was money from there.
Now, was it the first call that you got the deal, or how did that kind of play out? When you first talked to him, walk us through that conversation. What were you guys talking about?
Yeah, so I do this with most of my calls. Initially, I just try to gather condition, motivation, timeline, price.
Perfect.
There's a ton of back and forth with Alex. We were negotiating price seemingly like it was a different number every single week, it seemed like he couldn't decide on a price. Then his wife was getting involved with it. And I'm pretty sure it took us over a month to get that deal locked up because he just couldn't. It was just a bunch of pushback. Like, that's just how it is sometimes.
Yep. And typically when, you guys go through those calls, you're not always, like I said before, you're not always going to come to an agreement on the first call. It's going to take a lot of follow-up, and you just want to be that guy. When that seller's ready to pull the trigger, you want to be top of mind, right? And Nate was top of mind when he was ready to make that decision. Now, he passes the deal on to me. I give him the offer range. You guys go for it. But you did a very good job on that. John, you did a very good job on that. Now, generating just under 60 grand in assignment fees, I really want you to be proud of yourselves. Like, you guys did it. Like, you guys are 18 years old. You guys are in college. making that kind of money, like it's insane. And there's a lot of people out there that are going to take inspiration from your personal stories. We got a guy here that's going to Sac State that works at In and Out that had a bad time at his job and now is about to make just under 20 grand. John, same thing, going to school, parents didn't want you doing anything related to wholesale real estate. Boom, you're about to net yourself just under 20. So in a matter of 45 days. So it just goes to show the perseverance and the confidence, and you guys actually put in the work. So give you guys a round of applause, because you guys freaking did it. There's a lot of people out there that get analysis paralysis and don't go anywhere with it. Okay, and let's go on to the next subject here. Anything else you guys want to elaborate on before I go on to the next subject?
Yeah, I just want to comment here. Honestly, yeah, I think feeling proud of ourselves is cool and all, but this is just the beginning, Rich. You know that.
Yeah.
This is nothing right now.
Yeah, right now it's just the beginning. You guys are still in the learning process, but you've already been, remarkably successful. So, take it in, soak it in, and then we do the next deal. So for people like out there that want to get into wholesale real estate, what would you tell someone out there that's thinking about getting into either real estate investing or wholesale real estate? We'll start with Nate.
Honestly, just do it. Just do it now. Just do it now. Like, specifically back when I was working at In-N-Out, there was a coworker who was very interested in that. I'm pretty sure they're not even doing it now, but I spent so much time just trying to convince them just to start, because once you start and you get that first deal, you're gonna be addicted. Just start now. That's the only advice I have. Just do it. Just start right now.
Right now. And what like, be a little bit more specific. What would you have them start with?
Honestly,
yeah,
scrolling Facebook Marketplace deals.
Okay, there you go.
Yeah.
Facebook Marketplace. So, get those reps in on Facebook Marketplace. Nobody walks into the gym on day one all buffed out. Like, you got to get the reps in. You got to get the calls in. You got to get the texts in. You got to get on the phone. You got to get uncomfortable. John, if what piece of advice can you give to people out there watching you today? 18-year-old kid making just under 20 grand. Like, what would you tell them?
Man, well, I mean, there's a lot of things I would tell them, but above all, just don't be afraid. Invest in yourself and believe in yourself, because especially nowadays, more than ever, your laptop is like the most powerful thing ever. It can make you so much money. Like, you really do have the resources, even at my age, to go start something big. So just believe in yourself. And like Nate said, just do it. Like, there's no, obviously, yeah, you want to be careful and not get into a bad situation or anything like that. But just go out there and get those deals. Like, don't wait. There's no reason to wait. You're just going to miss out if you keep waiting. And then also, I wanted to add on to a little bit of the stuff from earlier. Like, obviously, Nate and I are really proud of this deal, but we want to win and then keep winning. We don't want to just win and celebrate. We don't want to settle or anything like that. So that's how we've been feeling about the two deals. Like, obviously, we're very happy, but we just have our sights focused on. We want more.
Oh, 100%. I agree.
Yeah,
with that.
getting that first deal though, it's like once you first get a taste, you can't get enough. It's an amazing feeling. And then also, I wanted to add, like, I think Nate is especially a really impressive story in the grand scheme of things. Like, it's been maybe 3 months since Nate started. Nate in that time went from flipping burgers to flipping contracts, and we're 19 years old now. Like, it really shows that anything is possible, and just believe in yourself. Go out there and do it, and you can do whatever you want. And I think Nate is like an amazing example of that. So I'm proud of myself, but I'm so proud of Nate more than anything.
Nice. Those are nice words. Flipping burgers to flipping contracts, baby.
Yeah.
Many more contracts. Many
more to come, and that's a mindset to have. Okay, rapid fire round. This is the last part of our little video here. It's gonna keep things fun and light. Let's do a quick rapid fire round. Okay, Nate, what is your favorite book or podcast that you could recommend to anybody out there?
Okay. Although it's not in any way related to wholesale real estate, I'm not really a big podcast guy. I'm not a big book guy either, but I really like the book The Art of Racing in the Rain. I don't know. It's just a good book. Kind of a
Okay.
random question there, Rich.
Okay, rapid fire round, random questions. John, what about you? Any podcasts, any books that you want to recommend anybody out there?
Man, Unbroken, the story of Louis Zamperini, a World War II veteran. That's a really good book.
Uh-huh.
And there's just a lot of great podcasts out there, especially for wholesaling now. I can't think of the names off the top of my head, but there's a lot of great ones out there. So really, any big wholesaling podcast will teach you a lot very fast. So any of those are good.
Okay. Good answers, good answers. Any tool, let's go to Nate here. What is the best like tool or app that you use that has helped you with wholesale real estate? Anything come to mind?
Yeah. Facebook Marketplace, Deal Machine. Deal Machine is incredible. Love it. Perfect software. Get Deal Machine.
Okay, John.
I would have to say the same. I mean, Facebook is really like a dual-edged sword. Like you can get deals on Marketplace, and Facebook is also a massive networking tool to meet buyers and meet anyone else you can work with in wholesaling. So Facebook is a huge one, and really, for that matter, any other social media like Instagram or whatever else, and then Deal Machine, obviously. Deal Machine, it's our deal machine. Like it gives us the deals. How can we not love it?
Exactly, exactly. And here's the thing about me. I do a lot of deals. I've done hundreds of deals all across California. Haven't gone out of the state yet. We're close. But I haven't ever mentored anybody, and what I saw in you guys was perseverance. I saw people that put in the work, that really paid attention to like what I was teaching. Nate just freaking talked about condition, motivation, timeline, price. He remembered that. That just shows how much hard work he's put into this. So, when you put in the hard work and you have the success that you guys have, at such a young age, you're right. Like, it's not, it right now it's great, but moving forward, it's going to be so much bigger than you can even imagine if you just keep this same energy. And that's what we're going to do. So it's been a pleasure to be able to mentor you guys, to bring you through the process of deals, which we can talk about on another episode. Where can people find you guys if they want to connect with you or want to just ask you questions? You guys have Instagram or Facebook?
Yeah, I just have a Facebook. I'm not really on Instagram like that, but just find me, Nathaniel Luna. You got questions, I could answer them. That's about it.
Got it. Networking is, your network is your net worth. So, I mean, John met
That's
me a
right.
year ago, high school kid, broke, runner. Now he's got frickin', thousands of dollars in his pockets, and it's just about networking with the people. Whatever you want to do in this life, you need to find the person that's already doing it and learn from them.
Exactly.
So, John, where can people find you?
So I'm about the same as Nate. I'm mostly just on Facebook, but also on Instagram. It's just going to be Giancarlo Hash, which is GIANCARLOHASH.
All right, guys.
But yeah, Facebook, like I already said, it's an amazing tool. It's how I met Rich. It's how I got started in wholesaling. So Facebook's amazing.
Awesome, guys. Well, it's been a pleasure to get your guys' story out there. I'm Rich Swift Real Estate on Instagram, on Facebook. Just like John and Nate just said, get out there, stop being afraid, just do it, network, and just watch what happens, right?
Yeah.
Be scared. Every single no that you get is just that much closer to a yes. So just don't be scared. Be confident. Speak well. Present yourself well, and just do it. Just get those deals.
Exactly. And I'm going to end this video with what I told John a year ago. As it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when,
Yes.
as long as you don't
Exactly.
quit.
Exactly. And to kind of add on to that, just stop dreaming, start doing. Like whatever you think is possible, you can be even more than that. So just get out there and go do it. You got this.
All right, you guys. You guys are gonna be an inspiration for a lot of people out there. You guys are inspiration for a lot of people out there. So it's good to have you on. And next time we do have you on, we'll talk more about deal analysis and the process for people out there. So I'm glad your story's out there. Keep killing it. Let's go.
This sounds good. Thank you.
Later.